Welcome, and thank you all for joining us this morning. A quick technical note that this webinar is being recorded and everyone has been muted. To begin, I'd like you all to just take a moment and consider what your day would be like if you couldn't turn on the tap and get clean drinking water, or if you flushed the toilet and the wastewater didn't go anywhere. When you have reliable water service, you don't have to think twice about the infrastructure that brings water to and from your home every day, but we all should. Today, we are here to imagine a day without water. It's a day to notice the way that local water systems impact our lives and commit to a sustainable water future for generations to come. This event is part of the 6th annual Imagine a Day Without Water, a nationwide day of education about the value of water. Today, we are lucky to be joined by some of Milwaukee's water leaders. First, I would like to welcome Common Council President Johnson to say a few words.
Well, thank you, and good morning. It's my pleasure to be here, and good morning to all of you who already have flushed the toilet or had a drink of water today. I think it's important for all of us to take time, especially today, to consider how we all depend on fresh water and a wastewater system to keep us healthy. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to work alongside Karen Detmer, the superintendent of the Milwaukee Water Works, as well as Kevin Schaefer, executive director of the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District. And these public servants are just that. I mean, they're driven to serve the public and make sure that all of us have access to these vital resources that we depend on each and every single day. And it's important, I think, that we reinvest in our systems to avoid emergencies and ensure a sustainable water future for generations to come. And that's exactly what we're doing at both the Waterworks and at MMSD. I'm pleased you all join us for a virtual cup of coffee as we explore what it takes for clean water to flow to and from your home every single day. And I would imagine that you, like myself, can't imagine what it would be like to have a day without fresh drinking water. I have 3 kids. You probably hear the twins, Madison and Bella, in the back right now as they're waking up. I poured them their cup of water already that they're going to have this morning, and you can probably hear in the back brewing a pot of coffee for my wife, who'll be drinking all that by herself because I don't. But I do drink water in the biggest cup in the house, and I toast you with the biggest and best cup in the house, my Batman cup. So thank you guys for all the work that you do to make sure that we have fresh and accessible, clean drinking water and a wastewater system for all of us to use and enjoy in Milwaukee.
Thank you, Common Council President Johnson, for that great toast to water. You have a much cooler cup than I do. I enjoy that. We would now like to welcome Milwaukee Waterworks Superintendent Karen Detmer, and she will give us a short presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I am getting my slideshow up, and I will share my amazing mug. And as you may see, I'm a bit more of a tea drinker than coffee drinker. But you can't make great tea without great water. Just to make sure, Christina, you can see my screen clearly, the correct one?
Yes, you are all good to go.
Great, thank you. So I really appreciate President Johnson's comment about giving his children their first cup of water, because when we talk about water, it is just so essential to life. And in Milwaukee, we pride ourselves on being a water-centric city. So when we look at what makes a water-centric city, we've determined through a planning process that there are 7 principles of a water-centric city. And Kevin Schaefer from MMSD will talk a little bit about other principles, but I'm here today to talk to you about the principle that's most important to Milwaukee's drinking water: sustainable, healthy water supply. And if you would like, I would encourage you to check out watercentriccity.org and review the plan that Milwaukee has put together with many partners, looking at how to become a water-centric city. When we look at the history of Milwaukee, water is so essential to our history and is so critical to our future. At Milwaukee Water Works, our mission is to provide a safe and reliable supply of water to our customers at a competitive or reasonable price. And to that end, we look at all the different ways that we can do that in a responsible manner. Milwaukee Water Works, it is little known, actually was created, the water utility was created with the option of fire suppression in mind. So it wasn't necessarily the onus of the waterworks to supply clean drinking water. It was more incorporated for fire suppression, and we take that very seriously. But we've moved more toward looking at exactly what it takes to get clean drinking water supplies. So we often say we're not just in the water delivery service, we are in the public health and safety service. Our water service area includes over 860,000 people served. That's in 16 different communities. And this is a map of our service area where it shows in blue our retail service area. So that includes areas that we not only pump and treat the water, but we also own the water mains. And we own over 1,900 water mains in that distribution center in the blue area. Now, over 1,900 miles of water mains is hard to imagine, but if you think about it, from Milwaukee to Los Angeles, California, is just about 2,000 miles. So our network of reliable and redundant water mains could stretch almost to Los Angeles, California. Hard to picture, hard to imagine. Now, through those water mains, we have a lot of redundancy. And we also have large feeder mains that pump that water to our wholesale customers in the green area. And you can see we have over 15 different communities that we're serving, and soon to be 16 communities, including Milwaukee County. And that will include Waukesha, the city of Waukesha, in a couple years here. And we currently pump approximately 35 billion gallons annually. And it's hard to picture 35 billion gallons. That's on average a little less than 100 million gallons per day. So pretty phenomenal when you think about the amount of infrastructure that goes into that. A little bit about our treatment process. We use ozone disinfection, we use coagulation and flocculation. Coagulation is when all those particles connect together and they work like magnets and bond to each other, and that creates weight that allows them to fall to the bottom. So all those suspended solids that are coming out of Lake Michigan are taken out of our water. They're then filtered, and then we add chlorine disinfection as well as fluoridation for healthy dental health in our children. And then we also add corrosion control treatment. So two of our most recent additions to our water treatment process are ozone disinfection that we added in 1994 following cryptosporidium outbreak, and corrosion control treatment that we added in 1996, ensuring that we are compliant with the lead and copper rule. We have two water treatment plants. Our Linwood water treatment plant is on the shore of Lake Michigan, just north of Bradford Beach. And it has been in continuous operation for over 80 years. Pretty amazing when you think about the capacity of that. And that requires a lot of upkeep. We are consistently looking at the different components. We are consistently looking at what needs to be updated, what needs to be maintained, and what is the best time to do a replacement versus maintenance. And of course, we have our Howard water treatment plant that is on the corner of Howard and Howell. And that was built a little bit later in around the 1960s. And distributing the water from these water treatment plants are 11 pumping stations, again, to our retail customers as well as to our wholesale customers. We have a state-of-the-art water quality laboratory that is continuously sampling and checking and monitoring and analyzing our water to ensure the highest quality of water that's being delivered to our customers. We have approximately 3,000 observations from each plant per month, approximately 2,000 additional observations from our distribution system, including over 70 different locations that we have sampling sites throughout our distribution system to ensure that not only the quality of water that's leaving the plant is good, but the quality of water that's out in the distribution system at any point in the area is really healthy and great as well. We do manual sampling. We have lab technicians that go out and actually collect samples at various areas, typically firehouses and libraries and schools. And then we have continuous sampling that we use throughout our distribution system, as well as in our plants, to monitor those extra critical items, including the ozone levels, the pH, and the chlorine of the water. We also have remote sampling sites throughout the distribution system that continuously monitor those types of critical metrics, the pH, the chlorine, the turbidity, as well as temperature. And we also monitor for over 500 contaminants. The DNR and the EPA regulate approximately 90 contaminants in the water, but we take it that extra step further and monitor approximately 500. So to the end of imagining a day without water, it's difficult to understand all the work that goes in. If I could just ask, it looks like somebody else is on, if they could go on mute. But we are constantly evaluating our system and making sure that we are making the investments in infrastructure improvements. For that 1,960 miles of water mains, our goal is to replace 20 miles of those water mains per year. We also include lead service line replacement in those water main replacement projects, as well as emergency in our lead service line replacement program. So that means if a lead service line has a leak on it, we are coming out, we are working with the customer, we are ensuring that that lead service line is replaced in its entirety, both the privately owned portion and the utility owned portion, to ensure the utmost safety. And I like to show this picture of these lead service lines that we pulled out of the ground, because you can actually see that white powder inside the lead service line. That is the corrosion control treatment that I noted earlier. We're currently, in anticipation of revisions for the EPA's lead and copper rule, we're currently undergoing a corrosion control treatment study that's looking at how effective our current dosage of corrosion control treatment is, and whether we need to tweak that in any way that we can be more effective. When we look at replacing lead service lines, we need that critical investment and that infrastructure capital to ensure that we can move forward with those replacements. In the meantime, we are ensuring that the water and the chemistry of the water is creating that barrier inside the pipes to provide extra safety for our customers. And most recently, we've been working very closely with the U.S. Water Alliance, the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, the Milwaukee Water Commons, MATC, Employ Milwaukee, Milwaukee Jobs Works. I could go on all the great partners that we have, nonprofits, and community organizers that we've been working with to ensure that we have an equitable workforce in our future of Milwaukee Water. And that is all I have. Thank you, Christine.
Yeah, thank you, Karen, for that great information. We now are going to move to the other side of the process and welcome Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District Executive Director, Kevin Schaefer.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Christina, for the introduction. I will note I'm the first speaker today that actually drinks coffee. I have my cup here, and when I took this job in 2002, my 10-year-old son at the time, we went to Disney World with the family, and he bought me the big cheese cup. So coffee has a very personal, special spot for me in my life, and every time I drink a cup of coffee, I think of him, my family, and what clean drinking water means to all of us. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So Karen Detmer did a great job talking about providing the clean drinking water to everyone's front door. So the water comes into your home, your business, you use that water, and then it comes to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District. We're the back door of that process. And I like to think of us sometimes as the custodians for the environment, because we need to make sure that the environment's clean, that the water environment's clean, so that when Karen pulls that water from Great Lakes, it's as clean as possible, so that she does not have to do as much to treat that water. MMSD really provides two basic functions. We reclaim water, we take that wastewater, we clean it, and we discharge it back into Lake Michigan. And then we also manage flooding. So we've got flood management projects throughout the region to try to keep water out of people's basements. Because when water gets into people's basements, it goes into the floor drains. The floor drains goes to the plumbing, which is connected to the sewers, which comes to the local system, and then to MMSD system. So we're really trying to reduce the amount of clear water, rainwater, that gets into the system so that we can reserve that capacity for the wastewater. Much like Karen, we have a very large service area, 1.1 million people, goes up through half of Mequon, Thiensville, Germantown, out west, the Subcontinental Divide, and down to the south at the Racine County line. About 1.1 million people, 411 plus or minus square miles, and 28 municipalities. And so all of these areas that were within this line, when you use water in your house, whether your dishwasher, laundry, toilet, shower, water faucet, any type of water you use, it comes back to MMSD that we then treat, clean, and return to Lake Michigan. And to do that, we have two water reclamation facilities. Jones Island, which has been operating since 1926, is downtown Milwaukee, and South Shore, which is in Oak Creek, has been operating since 1966. And both treatment processes are very similar to each other, very similar to most of the country, actually, where we settle out the solids, we we use microorganisms to consume any pollutants that are left. We disinfect, we take the disinfectant out, and then we discharge back into the lake. So it's a very standard process throughout the region. And if you'll notice on this map, you'll see this red crosshatch area in the middle. This is a combined sewer area. So the oldest part of Milwaukee and Shorewood has one sewer that carries both stormwater and wastewater, and that's a combined sewer. It's all combined in one pipe. The vast majority of the area, about 75, 76% of the area, is a separate sewer system, which has a pipe that carries the wastewater and then either a ditch or a pipe that carries stormwater away. And I talked about microorganisms that help clean the pollutants. We take those microorganisms, and since 1926, we've been producing a fertilizer called Milwaukee Organic Nitrogen, which we then sell on the open market. You can see in Lowe's, Menards, Ace Hardware stores. And we're targeting right now, we're going to earn about $12 million on the sales of these microorganisms that we've used to clean our wastewater. We also have a deep tunnel system, which has done a phenomenal job to improve the water quality in the region. This, again, helping to prevent pollution in the waterways to make our drinking water supply, keep it protected for the future. The tunnel holds 521 million gallons of water. It's about 300 feet below the surface, ranges in diameter from 17 to 32 feet. And it was designed to not capture all the overflows, but to capture the vast majority. And it was designed to have 1 to 2 overflows per year. And to date, since 1993, when the first tunnel came online, we've captured 98.4% of all the water that's come to us. So when you read about overflows or dumping, it's that 1.6%. And just as a reference, the Environmental Protection Agency requires us to be greater than 85%. We're doing much better than the federal and state requirements placed on us. And actually, we're one of the best combined sewer systems in the country for this performance metric. So we're doing a very aggressive job to try to keep our rivers clean, which means we have a lot of construction. These are pictures of some of the harbor siphons work where we had to build new siphons under the inner harbor to deliver flow to Jones Island so that we would not have any bottlenecks. Lots of construction. We spend around $100 to $120 million a year on capital improvements here in the region. And with all that work, with the deep tunnel, with the treatment plants, with all the sewer work that we're doing, we were still having water quality concerns. So in the early 2000s, we partnered with the Southeast Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission Sewer PAC. We developed the Greater Milwaukee River watersheds analysis to determine where pollution was coming from. And what this analysis really told us was that we had done a really good job with the wastewater side of the hydrologic cycle, but we still had stormwater runoff coming from urban areas and stormwater runoff coming from agricultural areas that were still causing pollution in the region. So we needed to do more to try to address those sources of pollution. And part of that work is the flood management work. We could go in the old days, we would go in and we would just put a concrete liner on a river. What we're doing today is we're going in and taking that concrete lining out, putting in natural systems so that we mimic nature as much as possible, so that we can manage the 100-year storm. If you could mute your line, please.
I went out and I just came back in.
If you could mute your line, please. We're trying to use nature when we manage floods. And these are various projects, Menominee River, Valley Park, and Underwood Creek on the upper right. 5 years ago, that picture on the right was a concrete line channel. And if you didn't know any better, you'd think you were in northern Wisconsin. And here's one of those concrete linings that we're removing. Again, these were placed in the 1960s. At the time, maybe a good approach, but we've learned since so much more that this is not the best way to manage floods. And so we are actually actively ripping out concrete lining today. And this is the perfect example of that. Pulaski Park on the Kinnickinnick River. The picture to the left was a concrete lining that was starting to fail. It was installed in the 60s. We just completed this project this summer. And this is infrastructure of the future. We're not just putting concrete back in place. We're not just managing the 100-year flood. We're going in, we're adding recreation, we're adding habitat. We're trying to complete the cycle on how we do infrastructure so that it mimics and supports the other functions of our society. And then we try to manage water where it falls. Again, back to the sewer PAC study, we need to manage stormwater so it does not carry pollutants into the rivers that then causes problems downstream. So we've created something called the Fresh Coast Guardians, which is striving to help people understand how they can manage that drop of water when it falls on their property. And we do that through green infrastructure. MMSD invests heavily in green infrastructure throughout the region in all the in-county communities. And since 2002, we've installed 43 million gallons of green infrastructure. And this is, again, trying to hold that drop of water where it falls. So this might be a green roof like you see at the top, or it could be a urban garden that has infiltration on the bottom left, or working on some of the schools in the region to try to bring back habitat to those regions, nature to those regions, and take some of the concrete out. 43 million gallons. We've got a huge goal of over 700 million gallons that we're striving for, but we're going to get there. And you can see there's so many other benefits to just managing water when we do these projects. And one of the larger scale projects, we're purchasing land along the rivers that is in floodplain. So it should not be developed, because if it's developed, it's going to force waters downstream and flood out homes in the future. So we've established a long-term goal of purchasing some of these lands. And although it was meant for flood management and water quality, what we're finding is that with the changing climate that we're all facing today, it really gives us an opportunity to plant trees so that we can try to reduce some of the other impacts that urbanization that we've caused is causing on our climate. And Green Seams is a great project where we are purchasing this land, putting an easement on it, and then providing that to others to manage. And each of you, although you may not realize it, you have a pipe of your own that runs from your house down to the street, which is then taken by a municipal system. And what we need to do is try to reduce the amount of clear water that's getting into that pipe. And some homes don't have foundation drains or sump pumps, so we're installing sump pumps. That's the picture on the right. We're also lining pipes to make sure that we try to reduce any groundwater that might seep into this. So this is called inflow and infiltration, and our project is working on private property, try to reduce that inflow and infiltration to the system. And then it really gets down to all of us. When you're walking the dog, when you're out for a walk, when you're on one of those COVID walks, just trying to get out of the house, pick up trash, try to do something. And we've been partnering with the Riverkeeper for several years now, the Milwaukee Riverkeeper, to adopt a river where people go out on specific times and they collect trash, they remove all kind of debris from the waterways and from the streets that end up in the waterways. On a side note, we've actually removed 4 couches out of the rivers this year because people are just throwing them in the rivers. We need to be better about how we manage our waste. And Karen talked about this. It's been a great partnership, and she named a lot of the partners before, where we're trying to make people understand the importance of water, to see how it impacts their daily lives so they can enjoy that cup of coffee. And so we're trying to increase collaboration so that all the different entities are working together, increase the awareness that you have of the water sector so that you know how you impact the water cycle. And then we're also trying to assess internal workforce policies and procedures so that we can make sure that the workforce that we have in the future reflects the constituents that are paying for this work, because we are all public servants. So this is a great effort. It's with the U.S. Water Alliance. We've been doing this for just over 2 years now. And it's really already brought a lot of great discussions about that'll lead to action in the future. And with that, this is why we do everything. We try to protect Lake Michigan, not only for drinking water, but also for the recreational and public health of the system. And Christina, I will turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Kevin, so much for all of that great information as well. I know we are coming up right at the 8:30 hour, so we don't want to keep you that much longer. If you do, but we do have a few things, and we'd like to open it up to Milwaukee Waterworks that can speak to some actions that we can all take to ensure a sustainable water future for generations to come. And I'd like to welcome Nikki Jackson, who is the Milwaukee Waterworks Customer Service Manager. And Nikki, I think you're on mute still.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, you can.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikki Jackson, Water Customer Service Manager for Milwaukee Waterworks. So as the people, who collect your payments for water and wastewater service, my staff and I regularly talk with customers as they pay their bills and their MMSD bills. So I'd like to point out that both of these public utilities could be considered owned by their customers. The money you pay for the service is reinvested right back into our infrastructure. There are no stockholders collecting a financial dividend. Your bill payments keep our water systems running smoothly. And by smoothly, I mean that, we're maintaining our plants and pipes and water mains and hydrants so that we can keep a steady flow and service of water to our customer in all of our neighborhoods. But it's also critical that we support our systems with the state and federal investment to rebuild and maintain them. So that costs a little money there. Now, when the pandemic shut down our businesses, your water and wastewater systems remained operating thanks to our emergency plans. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is, just using water wisely. We want to encourage our customers, and we always do, to save water, to save water, which will save on their bill and also help us with our infrastructure. So the Use Water Wisely program can help you find and repair leaks. Together, we can help you save money on your bill and reduce wastewater and conserve our Lake Michigan water resource. So we designed a program in collaboration with the environmental group Clean Wisconsin. And then as a utility, we check for leaks throughout the water system, and we advise our customers to regularly listen and watch for running, dripping, noisy plumbing, and fix any leaks right away because it will conserve or save you on your bill. So the Use Water Wisely program centers around a toilet leak for the most part. So a toilet that runs all day and all night will waste about 200 gallons a day, which will add about $400, to your bill each year. Our customers tell us that the most problematic plumbing fixture is that leaking toilet, followed by your faucets, your garden hose, and your hookups. And then, of course, dripping shower heads. But most people do not know, that a running toilet is running because it is silent most of the time. If you're jiggling the handle and and you hear it, then it's already, been costing you some money. So we encourage you to look, the way you can check for your leaks is to go down to your meter, and this little blue wheel that's in the middle, it should be still if no one or nothing is asking for water. Okay, if that's moving, there is something requesting water in your property, and you want to start with your toilet by turning it off and coming back to check the wheel to see if that caused it to stop, and just keep your troubleshooting up until you find the source of that problem. Okay. So we want you to take more action. Okay, so sign up for the water drop alert from the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District at mmsd.com. So what do we mean when an alert is issued? So it's simple. Just try to use less water until the storm passes. Okay. Hold off on washing dishes. Do the laundry tomorrow. If there's a heavy rain storm today, take a shorter shower. Okay. So when a water drop alert is issued, MMSD sends a text alert. We share so on social media, and their webpage will also have the details. So this is just a reminder to use less water until that heavy rain passes. By using less water during the rain events, we can help protect Lake Michigan and keep all the water out of our basements, which we also hear about as well here in the water department. We also want to invite you to a free virtual tour on Tuesday, November 17th at 6:30 p.m. Where Milwaukee Waterworks and the Jones Island Reclamation Facility will be hosting information on what we do and how we do it. So we ask for you to watch for a link for the registration for that, and we'll send it today to all of our coffee break participants. And with that, I'm just going to put up some contact information for us. We are available Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5 at 286-2830. And MMSD is available at 272-5100, 414 area codes. Are there any questions or concerns?
I think we're good. Thank you,
Okay.
Nikki. To
Then
all
I'll
of our presenters.
turn it back over to Christina.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all of you for joining us today. If you have questions, as Nikki mentioned, you can find our contact information is on the screen now, and please feel free to reach out to us. We hope that as you go through the rest of your day, you will continue to think about the value of water and how our local water systems impact our lives. Thank you.